friends and family on YouTube. Liam Murphy back to draft a BBM5 team. Dealing with a little bit of lag here, so hope I'm coming in clearly for you guys. Going to be drafting a BBM5 team on Underdog Fantasy in hopes to repeat as champion and win $1.5 million. Good morning. Before we jump into this draft, though, just want to talk about a couple things. One, I'm over the halfway point. I've done 77 BBM5s. Unfortunately, last night, I don't know how this happened. I was, in my bed watching TV. I clicked the enter BBM5 button and disaster struck. We entered a slow draft. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to be drafting this thing while I'm in Ireland this upcoming weekend. Is what it is. On the positive side, I did draw the 101 in this draft. And then, of course, I entered a second draft because I accidentally entered the slow. And I drew the 101 in that draft too. And I went CMC both times, even though I have CD Lamb ranked as my 101, because I have 10% CD Lamb and I only had 1% CMC. And I didn't want, that big of a disparity. I do want some CMC. Why couldn't he go for 30 against the Lions week 17? I also recently published an article on my site, beatbestball.com. This is a very actionable article where it is me detailing players who I think qualify as high upside players or at least rarely drafted players. And why that matters is, of course, if you reach the finals week 17, if you show up with a player that the field does not have, well, now you have a leverage spot. You have a player that no one else owns. If they score 20, 30 points, you can meaningfully separate from the field. I was not going to win the DraftKings 555 for $250K 2 years ago if I didn't select Trey McBride in the 20th round. Trey McBride was almost never drafted that year. I added him on to a team where I already had Travis Kelce and David Njoku because I really liked that Trey McBride played the Falcons week 17. So I was both selecting a high upside player, in my opinion, a highly drafted tight end, and I was targeting the week 17 matchup. I thought the Falcons were bad on defense. David Blau ended up being the quarterback that week. Trey McBride scored 20 points and won me the tournament. The year I won Best Ball Mania 2, I started drafting Jeff Wilson after he got hurt. Why? Well, I knew that the market would stop drafting him. And so now I'm drafting a guy who I think still qualifies as upside. He played for the 49ers that year. And I didn't care that he was hurt in May, June. I cared whether he'd be playing football in November, December, January. He was not drafted a lot. He ended up providing a spike week for me, week 16, I think. And if that landed week 17, that could have been the reason I won the tournament. So landing players that are rarely drafted really is meaningful. I wrote up a bunch of running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. You can check that out over at beatbestball.com. Let's see if we're going to be able to join from our desktop. Almost certainly not. Oh, wow, we did. Okay, so we're in the draft. How insane am I for having CD as the 104 behind Tyreek and Chase? I don't think it's that crazy. You're not going to get any CD Lamb that way, and that's not my preferred way to play it. I think Chase is justifiable as the 101. Pulled the 102 here. Pretty nice. I'm going to assume that this draft is going to be a little bit sharper because, you could see we were waiting for 7 people, and 7 people watching this stream jumped in. But if you have him ranked as the 104, you're just going to get no Chase, no Lamb, that is. And I wouldn't want to do that. I think Lamb can score 30 against the Eagles week 17. I think Lamb could be the wide receiver 1. He was literally the guy you needed to have last year, both in total points and in playoff. Pretty rare that happens. But it's fun. Ultimately it's fine, right? Like, It depends what this is for you. If you have a big bankroll and you are okay simply losing the years you need Lamb, then okay, it's a variance question, right? Fading another first round pick to go heavier on another one is simply variance. You're going to have good years some years. You're going to be sad some years when you make those fades. If you have a reason for it, though, go for it. Like currently, I'm not getting as much Tyreek Hill because I have Jamar Chase ranked as the 103. Now, I'm not super rigid with it. I do take Tyreek occasionally, but in addition to Tyreek having some age concerns that other people in the first round do not have, I'm not in love with this Week 17 matchup. That's a thin edge, obviously, who you play Week 17. That's very thin as a reason to fade a player, but it's part of it. So I don't want to full fade Tyreek, but I'm comfortable having more Chase than Tyreek. We went Lamb at the 102. Pretty happy with that. For those not subscribed to beatbestball.com, it is $99 for the year. That covers you for all of my main best ball content, between now and September. It covers you for any regular season content I do, which I'm not fully decided what I'm doing there yet. It covers you for the playoff contest, best ball. I'll have rankings for that. And then I'll also have, of course, rankings for the big board, so the preseason contest. So pretty good deal. You also, if you have a drafters account, will get a free $15 ticket. So basically 15% off for signing up. Even if you're fading round one picks, you should still mix them in. Yeah, I mean, you can. And again, it's a variance question, right? I don't think there's a correct, you should do this, you should do that. You're opening yourself to get buried. So last year, I basically full faded Kelsey and Eckler, but I didn't 100% full fade them. I did have 2 Eckler teams. So that's like 1%, right? I think I had like 1 Kelsey team in BBM5. And for someone like me who drafts higher stake ones on different platforms, there's different ways I can hedge. My team that won the 555 on DraftKings was kind of a full hedge team where I didn't just select one player. I didn't draft a lot expensively. I selected quite a bit of players I didn't draft a lot, mixed in with some players I do draft a lot. So there's different ways to do that. Yeah, agreed. 4 best ball entries for the info you need to potentially win 1.5 million sounds like a steal. I agree, man. And a lot of people gave my content credit where I didn't even have a site last year. I'm really happy I'm doing rankings for the first time this year. It just makes it like I've been doing some high stakes 555 drafts, and it just makes it so nice, right? Like these are the guys how I value these players. Now, you don't 100% draft off of rankings, but it is nice for me. AJ Brown can definitely be the 101. I need to work to get a little bit more AJ Brown. I've been like probably around 16% or so on him past couple of years, if not higher. But it's my love for Puka Nakua that has me not going crazy on it. And it has me, wanting to get Bijan and a little bit of Brees also makes it tough. Love this, dude. Love how you announce yourselves as E-Money. If other people could start doing that, that'd be nice. So Saquon, not a guy I draft a lot. You could see it where I have him ranked here, but correlates with Lamb. Usually looks like he's clocking in an ADP of 21. So he is falling. I have this is my second Saquon team. I had 0%. I was just going to have 0% if he was going to live at the 1-2 turn. It seems like other ranking providers have caught up. And by the way, a big reason to read my article now is other ranking providers will read my article and they will bump up the players they agree with in the article, making them highly drafted. That's just part of the game, right? But yeah, getting a Philly Eagles Cowboy blah, Cowboy Eagle stack feels nice when I haven't been taking the last Saquon. Let's also go Cup. We could go Smith for the onslaught. Let's do that. We'll go Smith. So we'll double up the Philly players, really leaning into that game. Occasionally, Jalen Hurts will fall to us at pick 47. That, the quarterbacks have been sliding. I do see Hurts go there sometimes. So would 100% draft him there. If not, hopefully I'm able to get Dak around pick 95. His ADP is roughly exactly that now. And running back wide receiver is a correlation I'm always happy to make. So we're really leaning into the Cowboys-Eagles game being the game you need week 17. Thank you, brother. A Frosty in the house. Guys, once I have 500K subscribers, I'm gonna remember Easy E and A Frosty approximately 50 years from now. Garrett Wilson busting coming. I personally think Garrett Wilson could be the wide receiver one as well this year. I think he fits the bill a lot of ways that CeeDee Lamb did last year. Not quite the same, but we have no idea who the second target will be on the Jets, and we don't really think any of them will be target dominant, which was the same thing with Lamb. We have a quarterback who's been good in the past. We know Aaron Rodgers can throw for 4,000 plus yards. We know that he can throw for 30 plus touchdowns. So if all that comes together, Garrett Wilson could certainly be the wide receiver one. It's not quite the same as Lamb because, of course, maybe Garrett Wilson isn't as good as Lamb. Hard to say with his quarterback play. And more importantly, we had just seen the Cowboys offense be very elite multiple years, which is not the same for the Jets, of course, with Rodgers off of his injury. Jameson Williams is climbing way too high. Yeah, I tend to agree. Even though I've been drafting Jameson a lot the past couple of years, I've not been doing it as much, even though I think the bull case is better this year. He did have a bunch of touchdowns wiped off the board randomly last year. So I could see a good year from him, but I don't see him being like a breakout guy. Is it crazy to have 25% Mahomes through 200 drafts? That is not my preferred way to play it, but I don't think it's insane. I personally just, the Chiefs' playoff schedule just kind of seems like they could be blowing these teams out. Like the Steelers week 17, that profiles as more of like a Pacheco game to me. If the Steelers aren't able to keep up, like maybe they're just running out the clock. And then also, if you're going so overboard on Mahomes, you're probably not getting Allen and Hurts, who are almost strictly better selections as far as what their weekly upside is, what their season-long upside is compared to Mahomes. Right? Mahomes has to do it through passing. Allen and Hurts can get it done by just rushing for 15 plus touchdowns. Literally, we've seen that from them. And I think it's fair to question them both doing that this year for multiple reasons. Hurts, you don't have Kelsey. The O-line's still good. He's been banged up. Maybe they don't tush push as much. And then with Allen, they tend not to run him when their season's not on the line. And so I think some people are extrapolating. Like the Bills Hello? Are you hearing me? Can you see and hear me? We back? Okay. I don't know what's going on. My internet's been acting weird. It actually might be back, but I'm currently on a hotspot right now on my phone. So we'll see how this holds up. Obviously the hotspot, not, but it is better than nothing. He paid the cyber ransom. All right, well, let's go through the picks I did. I went with Pacheco and McBride. Pacheco, easily could be a top 5 running back. Profiles as a plus matchup for him week 17 against the Steelers. McBride, I have Kincaid ranked slightly ahead, but McBride goes ahead in ADP, so wanted to get some McBride. Don't want to have all Kincaid, no McBride. And then added Ladd McConkey and Keon Coleman, two of the last clear upside swings at wide receiver, where the next names at wide receiver are JSN, Jameson Williams, and this group of dudes. So yeah, I mean, they both have downside concerns, but the upside is there. A lot of people are being down on Coleman based off of nothing. Can you rate my team out of the 9 slot? Brother, I'm holding together this stream by paper clips and rubber bands. Absolutely not. Well, thanks for holding out with me. Obviously, I'm going to have to fix my internet after this. Going to be going on Davis Maddox's new channel later today at 2 if I can get my internet back. They're on me. Oh, God. I'll be right back. Okay. It's looking like my connection to my regular internet is back. So I'm going to connect to that. I'm going to drop for a second. Okay. Okay. We seem to have righted the ship a little bit. Yeah, so Stroud was a major value here. Let's see. Does this guy know what he's doing? I think he does. Okay, we're going Swift because I want to get Swift and Prescott. It'll be annoying if he takes Prescott, but so be it. You gotta be willing to crack some eggs to make an omelet, you know? I saw that this guy took Mahomes in Hollywood, so he's stacking. If I saw that this guy just had Mahomes and no Chief, or just unstacked, I would not have trust him to not take Dak. And I didn't want him to take Swift, so I thought taking Swift was worth the gamble to get Prescott to land my stack, because now I have 3 strong running backs who, with this strength of 3, I can stop at 4. I might do 5, max, but I could stop at 4 and just say Eagles starter, Chiefs starter, Bears starter. The wide receiver room, we're definitely going to need to build out. We got a high-end guy in Lamb, which helps. We got 2 rookies, which we'll see what they'll do. With pretty wide open target rooms. Devonta Smith, pretty steady. And then upside swing at tight end with Trey McBride. I'm probably overvaluing Dak this year. Seems like a good fantasy value. Well, the thing is, and I've talked about this a lot, but you can even include Mahomes in this discussion. You don't need to, though. So not including Mahomes. Stroud, Burrow, Dak, Love, Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Tua, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford. The big question for all of these statue quarterbacks is how many touchdowns do they throw? Yes, some of them offer you some rushing upside, some goal line presence, but for the large part, Dak was a smash because he threw for 4,500 yards, right? And 36 touchdowns. In the years where he only throws for 3,800 and 25 touchdowns, he's not as much as a smash, right? And we see that every year. So like this year, the overpriced one is Stroud, right? He didn't throw for that many touchdowns last year. Yes, he was a rookie, but we know his production is going to come through the air. And I'm okay with the market overpricing him because we know why they're doing it, right? They're doing it because we're excited about the Texans. We think they could be the offense to throw for 4,500 yards, 35 touchdowns or so. So that's why the market sharply, to me, is discounting Dak and Burrow, even though we know they can smash. And I really like Dak and both Burrow with Chase and Lamb because you could just see the like contest winning upside of doing that at a really cheap price. And it might not be here. Like in August, is the casual crowd going to let us get Dak in the 9th round? I don't think so. I think they're going to be like, Dak Prescott was awesome last year. Boom, 6th round, right? So this could be a momentary thing that the market is giving us. And the less sharp crowd I could see, like I think they're going to just take Dak a lot in the 7th round to pair with Lamb. Same with Burrow. Guys, I don't know Maddox's channel. You're going to have to just look at my Twitter or his Twitter where I can retweet it. Yeah, I think Goddard makes all the sense as our second and last tight end, really building out the Philly side of that stack. A nice thing about Saquon, too, even though I don't take him a lot, is the Cowboys were absolutely decimated by teams that could run the ball last year. So could be a good game for him. If you're just tuning in, I did drop an article over at beatbestball.com detailing the late round high upside plays that are rarely drafted. I think we're going to go Herbert here. Even though his ADP is like the 130s, I'd rather not risk not getting him and just have a really comfortable QB duo of Dak and Herbert, allowing me to comfortably stop at 2. Comfortably stopping at 2 QBs, comfortably stopping at 2 tight ends, allows me to just take more bullets at wide receiver and hope to land some impact players. I have a strong staple of running back, so I really only need 1, max 2 there. So we will be building a 2-5-9-2 or a 2-4-10-2. Herbert, of course, stacks with Lad McConkey, the main reason I took him. Yeah, so this article just dropped in. He may have made the article. No, I'm jumping in with Davis in an hour. I think he's doing like a multi-stream. Can't be doing that. I've built one Allen and Hurts team. Got to build one, right? I did it early in the draft cycle because I think it's more likely I could have taken advantage of bad ADPs at the time. Yeah, you can build 2, 4, 10, 2, and you can get your, like I got Swift in the 8th round, where we know years past he would be priced. Like, why can't Swift outscore ETN? Why can't he outscore Pacheco? The answer is he could. And I can, all of these running backs are solid as well. No, you don't know Davis if you think he says that's fair. Davis just disagrees. Davis and I agree on some players, but yeah, I'm not always with his takes. Initially, was really put off by Quentin Johnston, but I've been starting to get some small ownership. I'm still put off by it. It is just very rare that you have such a bad year and you turn around into a solid asset. So, like, I am willing to miss it. I'm not taking a lot of Quentin, even on Herbert stacks. This does not seem likely he will break out. What are your thoughts on Kendre Miller? Not an exciting offense. Kamara still seems like he can PPR scam. Jamal Williams still exists. Fine to mix in, but I have him ranked below what market sentiment is. Yes, he had nice draft capital. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, just doesn't seem likely a league winner will emerge attached to the Saints. Strength of schedule is not an edge I try to attack too much. It's not very sticky year to year. There are some times where, like last year, it was clear the Falcons were just like going to play a bunch of trash teams. Okay. Let's go Ricky Pearsall. We can get a first round pick wide receiver in round 12. Never would have gotten him by the Brock Purdy drafter. And then, yeah, Marshawn Lloyd, I quite like as a 4th running back. With Lloyd being my 4th, I could comfortably stop at 2. I mean, at 4. But if I feel like it, I could tack on a 5th. Questions like this can be answered in my rankings and my articles, but I'm pretty high on both. What is the upside of Tua starts to run with the ball? 0%. He's not going to develop as a runner. That's not happening. Do you like Ty Chandler? He's a mix-in for me. Again, I try to think through how good is the offense. I do not think the Vikings are likely to be an elite offense. Hard to score touchdowns if you're not. But yeah, Aaron Jones is not a bill of health, so he could be easily seeing the field. 300 slows. I'm burnt out already. Yeah, well, stop doing slows. Took Foreman on stream the other day. Would you go 3 QB / 3 tight end builds if you aren't able to go elite early QB / tight end in the early rounds? It really depends. I do go 3 QB, 3 tight end sometimes. You can almost always do it on 20 round sites, but in general, I just prefer building 2 QB teams because quarterback rarely separates. So I want to be landing the skill position players that can separate. But hard to resist a double stack if offered. Don't know off the top of my head. I don't have a lot of Derrick Henry. I don't have a lot of George Pickens. I don't have a lot of Saquon, which we just fixed that. I don't have a lot of Mark Andrews compared to the other elites. But I do have some. I don't have a lot of Njoku compared to other tight ends, but I do have some. What's the main reason you don't have a lot of Pickens? Well, I'm coming around to him, to be honest with you, but unfortunately, he's rising in price. Where if he was still going in the 5th round, I'd be mixing him in. At a 4th round cost, like George Pickens over Jalen Hurts, that's a no for me, dog. Over ETN, that's a no for me. Over the elite tight ends, that's a no for me. I like Kirk better. I like Higgins better. And it's because George Pickens does not separate and likely plays for a bad passing offense. Now, both Fields and Russ can support wide receivers. We saw DJ Moore have a good year with Fields. We saw Cortland Sutton have a good year with Russ. However, to me, both of those guys sun ran, right? It was like kind of random, in my opinion. Cortland Sutton caught a bunch of jump ball touchdowns, not stable. DJ Moore had some huge games, not that stable. Seems like a good time to mix some Adam Thielen in. Actually, I'm going to update my ranks later. Screw Adam Thielen. Let's do Wan'Dale Robinson. Previous 2nd round pick. Been wanting to mix him in as well. What does MBS do this season? I just wrote him up in that article. I'd check out MH, but probably not a lot. Are you taking any Steelers quarterback? I take Fields, and I've rarely taken Fields and Russ together. Any news on the Hawk Tua girl and Tua getting a Hawk Tua brand started? Great question, Barry. No news there. Thanks for checking in, though. Let's go. So we have to decide, are we doing a 5th running back? And the answer is yes, only because we have a Herbert Lad McConkey thing built out. So let's get Gibson. The Patriots play the Chargers week 17. Might as well build a double stack. And then we'll end this draft with 3 straight wide receivers. that you shouldn't have drafted against me, brother, because you've already lost. I'm advancing. And I mean, like, look, let's pull George. Like, George Pickens produced his best game with a backup quarterback. Let's do PPR. We'll even be more generous to him. Okay, 22-point game. That's fine. 26-point game. That's nice. 0 games above 20 points. Terrible. Very random spike to 35 thanks to his backup quarterback. And then another nice game. So he gave you 4 games above 20 PPR points last year. Yes, Deontay Johnson's gone. Yes, it's year 2. Another year older for him. But he's like a big jump ball guy who, like, very, very good at catching the football. But he's never going to be, he's just never going to be that target dominant, move the chains type of dude, catch the ball, run down the field. That's just not his game. And I think if these games happened earlier in the year and not in the fantasy playoffs, people wouldn't be drafting him where he is. Now, he almost has to be the number 1 target of the Steelers, so that's nice, right? And we know he has spike week capabilities, but this is grim stuff. He's young Antonio Brown. That is the worst comp you could ever make. He's more like T. Higgins on the Steelers. He is nothing like Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, you could throw a 7-yard slant to, and you could go run the field and go score. Antonio Brown really separated from cornerbacks. I think Demarcus Robinson is good value. How do you feel about Pearsall with all that Ayuk chatter? Literally drafted him on this team. Could be a 0. Offers upside. I hate that Pickens is on the Steelers. That dude is an athlete. Yeah, and I mean, like, that's how I feel about, like, Najee Harris, right? Like, if Najee Harris was a Bengal, I'd be drafting more Najee. But he's not. Don't know. Don't work for them. Hey, appreciate you, Jay Lizard, for the super sticker. I don't even know what that is. Okay, let's go. Let's go Devontae Walker. Even though Baker correlates with Herbert, I might move Baker a little bit down. It's just he's drawing live to be a 0. Appreciate you, Jay Lizard. Like the name. Appreciate you guys all being here. Please do click the like and subscribe button. I'm on the road to 5K. A reminder, I'm going to be going to, let's go Chark to double stack Herbert and try to end this with probably one of Dallas wide receivers, just to hope to fall into a stack there. He made my recent article. I recommend you read it if you care for my thoughts there. But yeah, I'm going to Ireland this Sunday with my family for 2 weeks, so not going to be doing daily streams probably. If I can do, I know you can draft DraftKings in the UK. I don't know about Ireland. If I can draft DraftKings, I'll just stream DraftKings drafts. If not, I'm gonna have some people on to do some guest pods. Rondale Moore breakout year? I don't think so, brother. As much as I'd like it to happen. Recently a different wide receiver got buzz over him. I can't remember the guy's name, but that's bad news. DK has become the king of best ball. I doubt it. I think Underdog holds that spot. They have the highest fill rate on their tournament. Rondale was my highest drafted last year, not drafted this year. It's yeah, Ray McLeod got the buzz over him, which is really bad news for Moore. Ray McLeod is like bounced around to a lot of teams, guys. How do you feel about drafters? Promo code Cheslium. I recently, I wrote an article the other week about the top scoring teams there. I like drafting on drafters. I did a stream there yesterday if you missed it. Dude, creamy sauce, brother. Do you work for DraftKings? If so, slide into my DMs about sponsoring the channel. Because you are riding DK right now. Also love the username creamy sauce. We got people announcing themselves in chat. We got creamy sauce out here. Can't use a VPN? I would never do that personally. Why would I risk, of course, using a VPN has got to be against terms of services. So I think if you're doing that for gambling platforms, you're just putting a lot at risk. A, they could shut down your account for life. B, they could void all your entrants. C, they could void you from winning the money. I would never do that. That is just not worth the risk. Are there any teams that you're fading that can hurt you? I haven't gotten as much of the Chief guys as I'd like, just due to their price. But Xavier Worthy is now dropping in price, which is kind of nice. And I'm also like, I just think it could be kind of a run heavy game plan for them against the Steelers week 17. Caution about using VPNs. This guy said he used it on Prize Picks and instantly got banned. All right. Let's do Jalen Brooks, certainly a player almost never drafted. He's getting a little bit of buzz, though. So I think this team, a ninth wide receiver, it's not going to hurt me if he doesn't hit. I'm gonna be ahead of the market there. If he is a hit, Jalen Tolbert's not the stiffest competition for wide receiver 3. So our team is Dak and Herbert, Saquon, Pacheco, Swift, Lloyd, Gibson. Let's rename this one. Forgot to denote I streamed it. CeeDee Lamb, Devonta Smith, Lad McConkey, Keon Coleman, Ricky Pearsall, Wan'Dale Robinson, Devontae Walker, DJ Chark, Jalen Brooks. Good mix of veterans and rookies there. Trey McBride and Dallas Goedert, 2 upside tight ends. So, like the team, definitely need some of these wide receivers to come through, especially guys like Lad, Keon, Ricky. But if Walker, Brooks could be hits, you can kind of mitigate one of these guys being a disappointment. Quarterback strength, running back strength, tight end strength, wide receiver strength. So, seems like it is a very solid team. Are you going to do any of DraftKings September 4 week 4 tournament for 10K? Probably not. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the internet issues. Check out beatbestball.com for all my rankings and my new article. Enjoy your day. I'll be back tomorrow with another stream. Peace out.